I call to order the December 8th, 2021 meeting of the Springfield Board of License Commissioners at 5:30 PM on Zoom. All commissioners are present, so we have a quorum and we can continue. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the hearing of November 30th. Have we had an opportunity to review those minutes, everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Does anybody have any suggested changes?
No.
Okay, hearing none, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the hearing of November 30th as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? No. Commissioner Cade? Unmute now.
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano? It's connecting to audio. You on, Mike? Commissioner Siciliano? Oh, still can't hear you. Is that a yes? Okay, we can't hear you. Commissioner Signature, yes. So we shall move on our agenda. Next item is a continued hearing of a petition for the new Farmer Series permit for Rustic Brewing, 34 Front Street, Indian Orchard. And the proposed manager of record, Mike Kopiec, is here. And regarding public input, I have Mike, or one of them, provided a letter of support from the Indian Orchard Neighborhood Council, which I knew I would misplace. It reads, not that. October 15th, 2021, to whom it may concern, the Indian Orchard Citizens Council is very excited to support this Rustic Brewing Company in their efforts to open their tap room on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. They presented their proposal at our board meeting on 10/13/2021, and the board agreed that they should be supported. No residents had any concerns. They have been a good business partner in our neighborhood and should be able to do business in our community. We look forward to continuing to work with them to ensure our community is vibrant and has a good quality of life for the residents. We thank you in advance for considering this application. In service, Zaida Govan, President, which is always good news to be a good neighbor, because the neighborhoods will support the licensees. Namako, do we have any other input since our last meeting on this license proposal?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No. Okay. Commissioners, does anybody have any questions?
No.
No? Okay. I make a motion, then we go into discussion and vote. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano has a little yellow hand up. I don't know what that means. Namako, do you know what that means? Timeout?
It simply means that he wants to talk, like you raise your hand in a classroom to show that you want to speak. Yeah.
Okay.
But for these purposes, I think, I don't know, Mr. Commissioner, maybe you can send your vote in the chat. So if it's a yes, you can type yes and send that in the chat. If it's a no, you can type no and send it in the chat.
Do you know how to do the chat, Michael? You click on your little yellow, blue box up in the corner and click on chat.
And then make sure it's to everyone, not direct messages. They will always tell you.
That working?
Oh, there he goes. He's connecting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see the little X by his name, which means that perhaps the audio isn't working. So, yeah, and he keeps disappearing, moving up and down. So just, you know, send your votes in the chat. I will record that. If I see a yes to, and Mr. Chairman, just give him say 30 seconds or 1 minute to type his vote. Yeah.
All right.
Commissioner Siciliano, we are waiting for your vote.
I don't think he can hear. Peter, I got it. I'm here.
Oh, there you go. All
I'm
right,
back.
good. All right, so we're voting on approval or going into discussion and vote on Rustic Road. Yes? Michael?
Yes, yes.
Yes, all right.
Sorry.
And Commissioner Signatory, yes. Okay, so this is an exciting new opportunity in the city, I think, to have a brewing company that is also have a pouring permit. So I don't see why we would not approve this. Does anybody have any thoughts? Yes or no?
No.
Yes. Okay, I will make a motion then to approve. Oh, wait, Mike Kopiec, we had a discussion about the hours. And so I think we said to make it uniform, we're going to give you a 7-day-a-week, 9 p.m. closing license. Does that sound right?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Thank you.
I will make a motion to approve the petition for a new farmer series pouring permit for Rustic Brewing, 34 Front Street, Indian Orchard, with a 9 p.m. daily closing restriction. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano?
Yes.
Commissioner Signatory, yes. Thank you. We will send this off to Boston and you will be hearing from them. Okay, come out and make an inspection. So the ABCC inspectors will contact you, Mike, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. We
Right,
appreciate
good
it.
luck. Looking
Thanks so much.
forward to you opening.
Yes, same here.
All
Thank you.
right. Good night. All right. Next item on the agenda is continued petition, or can I find it? For new beer and wine restaurant license for Talk of the Town located at 320 Wilbraham Road. And I believe we had discussed at the last meeting, one complaint that we got from a neighbor 2 houses down. Did everyone see that email, or do you want me to?
Yeah, we talked about it. I
All right.
saw it.
Okay, so in the meantime, we received a second one who is the house right next door to Talk of the Town. And she lives at 64 Colonial Avenue, which is the house where the dumpster was abutting. And it's disappointing that with Cornell being at this location for 40 years, a complaint is being made just now. And I did search, I have access to the code violation database, and I searched for violations at 320 Wilbraham Road, and there were 4 from, get the wrong year, 2010. And I don't even know what the code is. It just gives the city violation code. I looked it up in my directory. It's not even in there, and they were paid, and there's been nothing since 2010. 2011 is one of them. So in 10 years, there's been no more violations. So in that time, if the situation was so bad, there should have been complaints made. And it's distressing that at the point where a citizen is requesting a license from a city, that someone comes forward and tries to throw cold water on it with no history of a complaint. Cornell, can you tell us the progress on relocating the dumpster?
Dumpster has been relocated. It's enclosed.
Okay, it's inside that enclosure that Phil Dromey saw.
Yes.
Okay.
And those violations that you spoke about,
Yeah.
those were my alarms going off.
False alarms.
Yes, when I went home, and
All right.
because there was a fault with the system.
All right. Okay. So no littering complaints or health odor complaints. I do want to remind you, Cornell,
Yeah,
that the Board of License Commissioners has reciprocal enforcement powers for all the city departments. So any uncorrected police ordinance violations, building code violations can be enforced by this board, including license suspensions. So if there is another complaint, you should address it immediately so it doesn't get to us.
yes.
And
But nobody comes to me with their complaints if there is one.
I see that. Yes. And that's not really fair. But as a good business owner, it would not hurt if you went out like every morning when you got there to open and just police the area around there, make sure there was no trash. This person is complaining about finding chicken bones. And I mean, you don't have to walk all the way out, down the block, but
Yeah.
immediately around your business, at least make sure that it is clean and presentable, both for, to avoid any complaints and to make it an attractive business for patrons to come, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any input on this?
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to indicate that last hearing, we didn't have a letter from the neighborhood council, but I see that a letter came in.
Oh,
Supported.
yes. November
Support
30th,
of
2021, to the Liquor License Commission, Upper Hill Residents Council, letter of support to serve beer and wine. Good day, Commissioners. The Upper Hill Residents Council was contacted by owner Cornell Forbes to schedule a Zoom meeting on November 3rd, 2021 to discuss his organization, Talk of the Town Restaurant, and obtaining beer and wine license for his Jamaican dine-in restaurant located at 320 Wilbraham Road, Springfield, Massachusetts. The Upper Hill Residents Council had numerous meetings, Zoom conference calls, and discussions throughout the month of November regarding our concerns relating to this request. Mr. Forbes and his staff was available to answer all questions relative to health and safety, fire evacuation plans, parking, and all required building inspections and building code inspections. He submitted the Talk of the Town Dine-In Restaurant Business Plan, which allowed us time to review it completely and continued to provide the necessary explanation within this plan meticulously to the council. The Upper Hill Residents Council fully supports Mr. Cornell Forbes' request for beer and wine license at Talk of the Town Dine-In Restaurants. If you have questions regarding this matter, please do not hesitate to contact us and we will be glad to answer them. Thank you, Adrian Osborne, President of the Upper Hill Residents Council. Did I not see somewhere that you are arranging for parking for your patrons across the street at the church?
Yes, and that letter was sent also from the pastor from the church.
Yep.
Okay,
So that should have came with.
We
the letter.
have it.
Yeah, we have it.
all right, good, okay. Okay. Two of the, go back to those two complainants. They mentioned that, the neighborhood is adequately served by J&J Liquors, which is an argument I hear occasionally from neighborhood councils. And I tell them, you're talking apples and oranges here. You can't compare a package store to a restaurant. Restaurant is for on-site consumption of the alcohol. Package store is for off-site. You buy it and you go home. So it's not adequately served by an alcohol serving restaurant. It's served by a package store perhaps, but I wanted to address that issue too. So does anybody else have any input? No? Okay, I make a motion, then we go into discussion and vote. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. Okay. We have a request for a beer and wine license at Talk of the Town. Closing restriction is 11 p.m. Is that right, Cornell?
Yes,
Okay. I think that's very reasonable for a true restaurant to be closing at 11 p.m. And I think Cornell should be given the opportunity to turn his takeout restaurant into a dine-in restaurant. Does everybody?
I agree.
All right, okay. I will make a motion then to approve the new beer and wine restaurant license for Talk of the Town located at 324 Wilbraham Road with a closing restriction of 11 p.m. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. Okay, you've been approved locally, Cornell, and you're going to be contacted by the ABCC, and they're going to send an inspector out to inspect your premises
Okay,
before they approve the application. Okay, so I
Okay.
hope that goes smoothly for you. And remember to pick up any litter. And I wish you much luck.
that will be done. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
All
All
right.
right now.
Good
Good night.
night. Good night.
All right,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Right. Let's move on. Attorney Kelly is present. We have a continued petition for change of officers, directors, LLC managers, transfer of stock, new stockholder for X-Pub 520 Sumner Avenue. And Namako, have we had any input from anybody on this proposed change since our last hearing?
Yes, we have one objection. I'm kidding, Attorney Kelly.
No, you got his perked up right there.
Got me.
How can you object to that? Okay, all right. So does any commissioners have any questions?
No.
Okay, I make a motion, we go into discussion and vote. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. Okay, so we have slight change in the business structure here, but Jerry Sarno is staying on as the manager of record. So that's these ownership change is the only change. I don't see anything we would find fault with here. So I would recommend we approve. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion then to approve the petition for change of officers, directors, LLC managers, transfer of stock, new stockholder for X-Pub 520 Sumner Avenue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. Okay, thank you. Good night, Dan.
Good night.
All right. Now, next on our agenda is a pre-hearing conference for Delicious Restaurant, 1333 Boston Road. Namako, would you like to explain why they're not here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The attorney requested for another continuance. I discussed that with Alicia and we thought it was a reasonable request. So I am making a recommendation to the board to grant that continuance.
Explain to me why this is a reasonable request.
Well, the thing is, beyond this scope, attorneys, do request for continuances all the time before the court, and this is something that the court would usually grant unless the court deems it to be unreasonable. Under the circumstances, he said he couldn't appear because he was tied up in federal court all week, and so he was asking if we could grant him one more continuance. That way he can,
Okay,
focus
well,
on. Sorry.
the federal court is 2 blocks from here and it gets out at 5:30, right? And our meeting doesn't start until 5:30. So
That is correct.
yeah,
That is correct.
that tells me he just wasn't prepared.
Well, I am merely conveying what
Mhm.
he conveyed to me. So as to the extent of his preparation, I understand the federal court is 5 blocks away. It closes before 5:30, but
All right,
like I said,
so
attorneys ask for continuances all the time. I had to ask for one from the district court yesterday. Do you know why I did that? Because
why?
my witness, last minute, about 15 minutes prior to the hearing, the police officer called and he said he's sick. Meanwhile, I've been trying to reach him all morning. And we had spoken on Friday and he knew we were going forward. But 15 minutes prior, he called me and he said he's sick. So I have to go before the court and ask for continuance. And the judge was gracious enough to grant the continuance. As I know, the members of this board would be equally gracious to grant.
So
that.
are you telling me that on November 30th, Attorney Allen did not know that he would be in court today?
I can't speak to, I mean, what his schedule in other areas of his practice are.
I would guess that he knew that. All right,
Yeah.
but you've already agreed to this. And this is the third continuance on these pre-hearing conferences. One, he said he was ill at the last hearing, but that's two pre-hearing conferences that he has requested to be continued. So those move on to a final hearing after two continuances. So I'm going to make the motion that we grant the continuance, approve the continuance of this pre-hearing conference to a final hearing on December 22nd. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. Okay, so these three violations will be on the December 22nd agenda as a final hearing. And hopefully there won't be an excuse du jour on December 22nd, and we can finally hear that. So that also applies to the final hearing which was on tonight's agenda and also has been continued for Delicias. And that is from August 14th, and we're still continuing it, and it is mid-December, which is pathetic. So I will make a motion then to continue again the final hearing for Delicias, 1333 Boston Road, for the violation of 14th and 15th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signature, yes. No, Namako, did you say that you told Attorney Allen that these are not going to be continued again?
Yeah, I told him that the board will not be willing to grant any more accommodations. And
All
so
right.
he's got to appear for this hearing
Let's hope his
now.
calendar is cleared for,
And let's hope he doesn't fall sick.
unless what?
I said, let's hope that there are no any extenuating circumstances that
Well-
present itself.
We've been hoping that for a long time. All right, let's move on then to the petition for Potbelly Pub. Joseph Cravarotis, manager of record. We received an email this morning from Attorney Rook saying that the owner, Carlos Sarno, was just received his meeting notice on Monday and contacted Attorney Rook, who was away at the Cape and not able to review and consult with his client and represent this evening. And he asked for a continuance of this pre-hearing conference. And Namako, did you convey to him that that was approved?
Convey to Attorney Rook.
Yes.
The board is just about to approve it, so I will convey that to him tomorrow.
All right, because, well, Alicia sent an email asking you to contact him.
Yeah, I will.
All right, okay. So I make a motion to continue the pre-hearing conference for Potbelly Pub for the violation of October 23rd and 31st. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signator, yes. We're waiting for an answer. Okay, so that shortens this evening's meeting. Let's move on to new violations. Potbelly Pub again. Potbelly Pub, November 14th, 2021. Officer Dudley submitted a special report to Strategic Impact regarding a disturbance at Potbelly Pub. Copy of this report is attached. This report states that officers responded to Potbelly Pub at 1:41 a.m. on November 14th for a disturbance reported to involve 20 people fighting in the street. Officers arrived to find many people arguing, gathering, and being loud at the intersection of Main and Oak and in front of the bar. The crowd began to disperse as officers approached in their marked cruisers. Officer Dudley said he spoke to Israel Estrada, who identified himself as the manager. Note, he is not the manager of record. As well as to Denise Luna, the bartender. Mr. Estrada advised Officer Dudley that he was moving people out of the bar and he was not aware of anything occurring outside of the bar. Officer Vasquez was approached by a female who did not wish to identify herself, who stated she was a patron of the bar and she had been in a physical altercation with another female. Female refused police assistance and medical attention. Mr. Estrada was able to produce the bar license from behind the bar. So was this physical altercation inside the bar or outside the bar? Do you know?
The female one said she wouldn't cooperate.
She just said, I was involved in a fight with this lady and that's all.
That's it.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
On October 17th, 3 days later, Officer Delamarter contacted Officers Dudley and Vasquez. Officer Vasquez advised me that the female who claimed to have been assaulted did not want to identify herself and did not want any police assistance. Officer Vasquez added that she observed at least one security guard at Potbelly's Pub. That she had observed at least one security guard at Potbelly Pub. Of just one.
She saw one.
She saw one. All right. Is there supposed to be more than one?
Two.
There's supposed to be two? Is
The
that
other officer saw it too.
okay?
I'm not sure that's there. It should be.
Okay. Sir Dudley advised me that he observed two security staff at Potbelly Pub at the time of this incident. Security plan on file for Potbelly Pub requires 2 security staff employees on Friday and Saturday night from 10 to 2. Neither officer witnessed an assault and noted that upon their arrival, there was a group of about 15 to 20 people outside, including some who were arguing. The group slowly dispersed and left the area. So this is submitted for our review. Is there a violation we're finding? No violation? We're just a disturbance in the street. Do we know if this
I mean, the manager of record obviously is
Isn't it?
addressed in another
Yeah.
report.
Mhm.
And other than that, the calling party, the person who called, when I tried calling them back, I couldn't hear them, they couldn't hear me, I never spoke to them. I think they didn't want to speak, I think that's why they did that.
Oh,
We exchanged phone calls several times and never spoke to them, so I'm
Okay.
assuming they wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
So the bar didn't call, but we have no witnesses to say there was any altercation because none came forward. The calling party can't testify there was a disturbance. Well, it could, but obviously isn't willing to.
mhm.
And the female who claimed to be the victim of the assault didn't want to give her name or any other information.
Okay. We hear that? Everybody hear that? That we have no witness to any kind of altercation, and Barry called the number back who reported the disturbance and they didn't want to talk to him. So do we see anything here, or other than manager is not the manager of record? No,
Right. That's the only thing I see. Nope.
Filed a petition since that first incident for a change of manager?
Namako was asking about that today. Namako, do you know if they have filed for a manager of record change yet?
Not to my knowledge.
No.
It's been over a month.
It's been a month since we discovered that there was no manager of record and we still have nothing. Okay. But that's not a violation in this report. So do we see anything else? Or are we just going to take no action on this?
No action.
I make a motion, we take no action on this report. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
yes,
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signatory, yes. Okay. Oh, well, Delicious noise complaint, November 19th. On November 19th, I received an email from Marie Prouty stating that Delicious had the bass thumping again. Bass thumping again. Officer Delamarter later reviewed CAD reports and located one call for service for unnecessary noises initiated at 7:58 p.m. Calling party is listed as Marie Prouty. The narrative for this call states Complainant.
Complaint.
Complainant would like to speak to officer about the loud noise coming from Delicious Restaurant. Officer Manzi was dispatched to this call for service at 8:11, arrived at 8:17 PM and cleared the call at 8:35 PM with the disposition of advised. He told them something,
Yes.
So he advised them to turn the music down or something.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. On November 29th, Officer Delamarta called Marie Prouty and spoke to her about this call for service. She advised him that she called the police on November 19th because she could hear the bass from the music at Delicious Restaurant inside her home with all the doors and windows closed. She advised Officer Delamarta that an officer did respond and speak to her, and that she made the officer aware this was an ongoing issue. The officer told her he would go to Delicious and advise them. Was that the officer that? Nancy, all right. SPD requests that Delicious Restaurant and Catering Corporation, DBA Delicious Restaurant and Catering, located at 1333 Boston Road, Derek Crespo, manager of record, be charged with the following: violation of 204 CMR 2052. No licensee for the sale of alcohol beverage shall permit any disorder, disturbance, or illegality of any kind to take place in or on the licensed premise. Licensee shall be responsible whether present or not. One count, to wit, failure to abide by City of Springfield noise ordinance. So the officer did find the violation.
Yes.
Yes, all right, okay. In addition, SPD requests this report be forwarded to the office of the mayor for an entertainment license violation hearing. The City of Springfield rules and regulations for entertainment licenses under Section F states in part, the licensee shall abide by the noise control ordinance of the City of Springfield. Unreasonable noise means any noise plainly audible at a distance of 100 feet, and in the case of an amplification device, the words unreasonable noise mean any noise plainly audible at a distance of 50 feet. And Ms. Prouty is 150 feet?
Between 120 and 150.
Between 120 and 150. Okay, so officer cited, heard the noise and advised them that they were in violation. So do we want a pre-hearing conference on this one? Yes, no?
Oh,
Well,
question. I have a question. After they were advised that the noise go down,
Do we know if they were told to turn it down and they turned it down?
Actually, it had been turned slightly down by the time the officer arrived. So he still heard it, but she advised him that the music had been turned down. That's before he had even went there. But it was still audible. He could still hear it at her house.
So he went back and he could still hear it?
No,
Oh,
when he went to her call,
uh-huh,
he could hear it. She had told him, since she had called, it went slightly down. It had been lowered slightly. He could still hear it.
oh,
He then went to the restaurant.
okay,
Why it went down, I don't know.
all right. So Andrew's question though is, do we know if it was turned down after the officer's visit?
That I don't know. I mean, I can tell you, they're well aware of the noise ordinance. They were given a copy of it in August.
Right,
And the officers have been there numerous times. I know the times I've been out there and they've been advised, typically it doesn't go down.
okay. So we're not sure whether the
All
noise
right.
went down or not.
thank you. Yeah, all right.
So, yes, no? I will make a motion that we have a pre-hearing conference on this violation. Do I hear a second?
second.
All right. Commissioner Cade,
Yes,
Commissioner Espinoza,
yes,
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signator, yes, okay. Conference and the rest are entertainment district arrests for your reading enjoyment. And Namako, do you have any more surprises for us or? Namako,
I'm right here.
okay,
I think the violation report that I had, well,
yes,
I should say the agenda packet.
yes,
I see Irish pub assault and also top shelf gunshot.
wait a minute. I skipped a page. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Paddy's Irish Pub, assault on November 6th. I did read this. I really did. November 7th, 2021, a male responded to the complaint desk at police headquarters and filed a report of an assault and battery. A male stated that about 10 p.m. on November 6th, he was at Paddy's Irish Pub, November 6th was a Saturday, and when he was physically assaulted by another male. The victim stated that his drink was accidentally knocked out of his hand by an unknown male who did not stop or acknowledge what had happened. The victim's girlfriend, who witnessed the incident, followed the male to the rear deck to ask him to replace the drink. That's always a good idea. The girlfriend returned inside to tell the victim that the male and the suspect were rude, and the male and the suspect.
So the guy who did it doesn't end up being a suspect, it's his friend.
Oh,
So there's two of them on the patio.
oh, all right. The male and the suspect were rude and disrespectful to her. The victim then proceeded outside, and always a great idea, and a verbal argument ensued with the named suspect. This argument quickly turned physical when the suspect punched the victim with a closed fist to the left side of his head. The victim stated he attempted unsuccessfully to punch the suspect, and that security then got between both of them and escorted them out of the pub. The victim added that while speaking to security outside about this incident, the suspect walked up behind him and punched him with a closed fist to the right side of his head, causing him to be unsteady on his feet. The victim stated that the suspect then walked away through the parking lot, and security allowed him, the victim, to re-enter the pub. The victim added that he then started to have pain in his right jaw, so he left and went to Bay State Medical Center for medical treatment. The victim provided discharge papers from the hospital stating his right jaw is fractured and dislocated. Officer Delamarter reviewed the case activity notes associated with this incident and learned that the victim had been contacted by the Major Crimes Unit and was able to identify the suspect from a photo array. The investigating detective, Jay Cronin, later submitted a criminal complaint and summons against the suspect for aggravated assault and battery with serious bodily injury. So this is just for our review. I don't.
Is that all that's there?
Yep.
Okay. There was more to it.
There's more to it.
Well, so there were no calls to service to the bar.
Well, that was my question here.
Okay, the manager of record was contacted. He was not present, but he was aware of the situation. His assistant manager told them they became aware of an altercation, or as he put it, an argument on the patio. They didn't witness any assault on the patio. It was an argument. They escorted all the parties outside. The suspect asked to go back in to get a hat. They let the kid in to get his hat off the patio. He walked back out the door. They were talking to the other guy involved, and as he walked by, he punched him and kept walking through the parking lot and left. So their contention is they didn't call the police because there was no active disturbance. The guy responsible left. The victim came back inside. They gave him water and ice. They asked him if he wanted anything, and the guy and his friend said they were all set. The guy then left about an hour later, ended up going to the hospital, and his trial was over. The initial, on the patio, their staff did not witness an assault, an argument. There was no, and then the victim, there were 3 phone numbers for him. One was a disconnected number, one was the wrong number, a female answered, and the last number, I left messages over the course of 3 weeks. He never called me back. So I had no direct contact with him to see if he would be willing, basically what they told me is consistent with what he said, that the guy punched him outside and walked away.
Okay. So you don't know if he's pursuing charges, or I mean, he's not calling you back.
He is,
but he's not calling
He came
you.
into the major crimes.
Yeah.
And he identified the guy The staff at the bar knew the other guy. They knew the suspect. I don't want to say he's a regular, but they knew who he was. And the manager advised me that typically they ban people for a period of 6 months, that he would be banned from going back to Paddy's.
Yeah.
But the victim never reached out to me back. He didn't call me back. The
Okay.
detective that dealt with him provided the 3 phone numbers to me. That clearly, if one of them may have been his number, he just never called me back.
Okay, so all I hear is failure to call the police.
Right.
Is that, or
I mean,
you think it's reasonable because the assailant had left?
there's no active disturbance.
There's no active disturbance. But we do tell everybody to call the police
do.
if there is a disturbance.
Right, but I think their contention is they never witnessed a disturbance. They were told there was an altercation. They observed people arguing. That's not a disturbance. They escorted them out. And as they're standing there talking to one guy, the other guy comes up from behind them, punches him, and keeps walking and leaves. I think in their mind, they're calling the police for what? The guy who caused the problem is gone. They watched him walk away.
Yeah. Where's this patio? I'm not remembering a
On the
patio.
right side as you look at it.
In the parking lot to the right between the
Well,
building
no,
and the
if you're-
street?
Right, so if you're looking at the building, it's to the right and you're accessible obviously from the inside. It's fenced off. I believe there's like a shed that blocks part of it and then
Oh,
the rest
I
is
don't recall
fenced.
approving that, but it must have been there. Has it been there a long time?
It's been there a while.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't know. I mean, if you don't remember,
I don't recall that. No, wouldn't that be something if they just put it up? That would be a big problem. So we can look, Namako, can we look at and make sure that we approved a patio for Paddy's and they just didn't put it there? I don't know.
Mr. Chairman.
You know, the license should say indoor service and outdoor service, patio for outdoor service. So I just want to make sure there really is a patio. Other than that, do we see that this incident rose to the point where they should be calling the police?
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
Rosa?
No.
No. All right. Okay. I will make a motion that we take no action on this report other than verifying that Paddy's really does have a licensed patio. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Singletary, yes, thank you. And top shelf gunshot victim. On November 8th, 2021, which was a Monday, or is this Sunday morning into Monday? Officers responded to 234 Chestnut Street, top shelf, for a possible gunshot victim. Officers arrived on scene to determine that there was no gunshot victim, but a 43-year-old male victim who had been struck with a closed fist by an unknown male, causing him to fall backwards on the ground and hit the back of his head. Officers noted that they spoke to one of the calling parties, Carlos Melendez, who is the manager of Top Shelf. He told the officers that he witnessed the male victim being assaulted by an unknown male while walking to his vehicle after the bar let out. He added that the unknown male punched the victim in his face with a closed fist, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head, causing the back of his head to bleed. Mr. Melendez intervened to stop the assault. The suspect then left the area in a vehicle. AMR ambulance responded to treat the male's injury. The victim's wife told officers she has no idea who the suspect is, as they do not have any problems with anyone. Over the course of the investigation, Officer Delamar attempted unsuccessfully to call the victim and his wife listed as a witness on the incident report several times. As of this report, he has not received a call back. Officer Delamar was able to speak to Carlos Melendez and the manager who advised him that the staff was not aware of any problems inside Top Shelf. He added that he witnessed the victim being assaulted outside at closing time and intervening to stop the altercation. The male suspect who he did not recognize as a regular patron, fled prior to officers arriving on the scene. This is for our review. Does that adequately summarize the incident?
Yes.
Yes. So happened after it was closed, assault in the parking lot with someone nobody knows, and the manager of record called the police.
No violation.
No violation. All right, I make a motion to take no action on this report. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signatory, yes. Okay. Namako, are we done now? Did I do everything I was supposed to do?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Okay, everyone. Well, I will see you again on December 22nd. And enjoy your 2 weeks. Thank
Thank
you. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinoza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Siciliano,
Yes.
Commissioner Signatory, yes. Thank you and good night.
Good night.